Okay, I guess my camera is going to act up because I may have to start it and restart it. Who knows? But anyways, let's get started. I am going to use something I've never used before, and I knew about these many, many years ago when I went to cooking school at Johnson & Wales in Norfolk, Virginia. But I never tried them. Oven-ready pasta, which is, this is the lasagna noodles. So you don't have to boil these. You just go ahead and put them in there. And the theory behind this is that the moisture from your sauce, and I'm going to make a homemade sauce, moistens them, and it's all great. And I think it's supposed to actually give more stability to your lasagna. So this will be a testimony. So what I've got here, I've got a bunch of stuff, and I'm still drinking my coffee. I've got 4 Vidalia onions. They're small. I've got about 5 cloves of garlic. I've got basil, parsley, and black pepper, and some salt. And that's basically going to be it for this, because it is for a fundraiser. And normally when I make lasagna, we usually soup it up kind of like with mushrooms and black olives and some Italian sausage and stuff. But because it is that, and I don't know who's going to be buying it, I want to make sure it's kind of as simple as possible for everybody's digestive system, if you will. So anyway, I bought 2 of these lasagna pans from Walmart. They came 2 in a tin. I think they were like $3, maybe 3 and change. But that's what I'm going to cook them in. They came with lids, so they're washed and ready to go. I've got ricotta cheese. I've got 4 pounds of hamburger. I've got mozzarella, and I've got provolone slices. And I went ahead and bought, and you know I normally don't do this, but I went ahead and bought crushed tomatoes for this. And I think that'll be enough. And I've got some eggs, because I have to mix some eggs with the ricotta before I put it in there. And it will bake for about an hour. So both of them I'm going to do together. So fingers crossed it turns out okay. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and chop my onions and my garlic, and I'm going to get my sauce going. So let's go ahead and start that. I want to get the sauce going because it does have to reduce a little bit. I don't have any tomato paste. I guess I should have got some, but I think I can reduce it down in the time that I've got to where it'll be nice and thick. Now these onions, they're not a rough chop, but they're not a super fine chop either. So again, if you like a finer chop, you guys do that, whatever suits your palate. Onions are really good about cooking down, so especially when they're in a sauce. And I'm going to saute them first anyways and get them to be translucent. And then I'll add the garlic, because you want to do your onions first and then your garlic, because garlic is really easily burned. And if you've done that and you've got it mixed with your onions, it's really not a good taste. So this is what we're doing. I'm really excited to be back on the video. There's been a lot of things going on in the news, and it just breaks my heart. I hope that my channel, for the most part, is a channel that we can have conversation. You may not agree with everything that goes on in everybody's life, but you know, I think that we need to get back to, let's just agree to disagree. You know, even I taught my kids that, and even my children will tell me that, Mom, we just agree to disagree. What's wrong with that? Let's just be adults. That's all I've got to say about that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and move the tripod over to the stove so we can get our sauce going, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, here's all my onions, 4 Vidalias. They were small, but I think that'll be plenty. Because I don't want any kind of flavor to overpower the lasagna. We just want it all to come together and be, sorry, I'm in the way there. Oh, there we go. There we go. Just mixing that up, and I've got butter down there to saute them. And I've got it on kind of medium high. And we're just going to go ahead and let that saute until they're translucent or clear. That's what that means. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I went ahead and took the lids off of the crushed tomatoes. And I have to say, very impressed with Walmart crushed tomatoes. They almost look like sauce. So this is perfect. So I won't need that tomato paste. So that's perfect. Okay, and I also have basil, I've got parsley, and salt, pepper, and like I said, the garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and chop my garlic up, and I am going to try to mince that. I want to show you something really fast. I was at Hobby Lobby yesterday, and I found the cutest little grater zester thing, and might try to use this on the garlic, but it came with a little cup and it just kind of fits there. It's just $2.99 US dollars. I think that's so cool. Look, you can hold it and everything. So let's get back over there to the garlic while this is sauteing, and make sure you keep an eye on these because you don't want them to be overpowered with the heat. And I'm going to find a lid because the steam will create a really nice tender onion. So I'll be back. Okay, here I am back here with the garlic cloves, and let's see my video. Let's see how that is. See if you can see what I'm doing there. There we go. This isn't my normal tripod. I don't know where it went since I had the heart attack. And Willis was home, God bless him, for over a week with me. Things are not in the same place, so. Oh my, I don't want that one. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just using the flat end here, or of the knife, you know, and this is not the sharp side. This is the sharp side. What I do is I just take my garlic and I just kind of do that with it. I learned that when I was in cooking school a long time ago, and what that does is it kind of releases the papery peel of the garlic clove itself, and it comes right off, as you can see. It's really nice. And it doesn't matter if you have crushed, in this instance anyway, because I want them to be crushed, the clove, because it just really releases it, and you don't have to worry about peeling and all of that mess. And because you know these paper thin garlic peels kind of stick to your fingers because the garlic itself is a little kind of sticky, just the way garlic is. And now the end there, you can see that little end, that's where they all stuck together. I'm just going to cut that little piece off of each one because I don't want that in my food. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and mince these up. So you're just going to kind of chop. I wish you could see me better. Let me see if I back that up. Maybe you can see. Like I said, it's not my, there we go, my regular tripod. That's a little taller. But anyways, you're just going to kind of chop them up. And as you go, you're just going to mince them. Hello. My little tin pot that I got when I lived in South Korea. Anybody watching from South Korea, yabaseo, annyeonghaseyo. Hello, how are you? I don't remember. I was almost fluent in Korean before I left there. I lived there for 2 years. And I graduated from high school over there because my dad worked over there as a civilian. He actually had been in the Korean War, and that was the first time I realized, let me stir this, that my dad, oh, they're looking good. The steam's creating liquid, so they're not burning. My dad spoke Japanese fluently at the Seoul airport. It was really crazy. We were just teenagers, And we all looked at him in amazement because he never told us that he could speak Japanese. Okay, let me go. I had to let the cat out. He was having a conniption over there. Okay, so this is pretty well minced. If you want it to be a little bit finer, you guys go right ahead. And I actually didn't use this thing, so I'll use it next time. Kind of interested to see. Well, since I've got a little time while the onions are doing their thing, let me get another garlic clove and let's try that little gadget out there and just see how good it does on minced garlic. Of course, you know, my theory and my telling you about how they came out perfectly. All right, well, here it is. Now let me go ahead. Oh, wow, that is nice. Yeah, that's easy. Oh, wow, I think I like that. You don't want to get your fingernails in there. Oh, okay. That's really nice. And as y'all know, I have arthritis. It doesn't want to work, so this probably wouldn't have been good for me. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. Got kind of stuck on there, but that's all right. It's pretty nice. It's very fine. Oh, I like that. Nice. Okay. Well, let's go back over here to our oven and our stove, and we'll go ahead and see what's going on with our onions. Okay, so I went ahead and put in my garlic. I thought I was videoing, but I don't guess I was. My onions are beautiful. Let me just show you. They're pretty translucent, gorgeous. And I've got the garlic in there, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to almost like a low, between low and medium, because I don't want anything to brown. So I've got my 4 cans. These are large cans too. They're 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. I'm going to put them in a minute, and I'll put all my spices in. So this basil I grew last year, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. And that's going to be about a tablespoon of crushed basil, parsley, salt, pepper, and that's going to be it. All right, didn't take long for garlic, believe me. And you don't want to leave it in there because, like I said earlier, it burns really fast. And then the flavor is awful. And you pretty much ruined it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pour all 4 cans in here. I may need to add some tomato juice and splattering all over myself. We'll see if I need to, because I like a lot of sauce in my lasagna. I'm going to put these over here out of the way. Oh, it's so nice, beautiful. And just going to go ahead and mix those onions and the crushed tomatoes together. Oh gosh, guys, it smells so good. I wish there was smell-o-vision. All right, now add these spices. And this is going to cook down a little bit. I may not have to cook it down a whole lot like I thought, because honestly, I haven't bought tomatoes in a long years. I bet I haven't bought tomatoes in 15 years because we always do our own. But these crushed tomatoes are amazing from Walmart. All right, I'm just going to put 2 big pinches of parsley, which is probably a tablespoon. And again, here's the basil that we grew. I'm going to go ahead and put a big pinch. That's probably a heaping tablespoon. And before I put this in the lasagna, put it together, I will taste my sauce. And I'm going to go ahead and use cracked pepper, because I just think that's really yummy. I think it gives a really unique flavor using cracked pepper. And I'll tell you what, I am going to go ahead. That was one thing I am on, is a no salt diet. So I had to kind of eliminate my salt from everything. And when you're cooking, salt is a flavor enhancer and a preservative. So I'm going to go ahead and taste this, even though it's not cooked. Let me turn it up to medium. I just want to see maybe what the salt level is in here. Oh, wow. That tastes so good. Wow. I am so impressed. Okay. I honestly, let me look at one of these cans and see if salt was added. So, let me see. Yeah, sea salt. I'm not adding any salt because I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect. Otherwise, I would add salt. But it does have sea salt, and that's what I use. So, that's wonderful. Well, bravo, Walmart. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and cook this down with the lid just a little bit. And like I said, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get it bubbling. Bring it to a boil, let it simmer, just so all of the flavors can marry. And then we will be back and we will cook our meat up. And I'm just using plain hamburger. I'm not using any sausage in this. So then we'll put this together. So when I went to the grocery store in my little town, I usually get ground chuck, but they didn't have it. So I'm using 7327, which means I will have to drain this. Drain the grease off. Normally when I use ground chuck, I don't have to. And I'm just going to go ahead and put all of this hamburger in here. And for those of you who rinse your hamburger, I do not. My hands are clean. And the hamburger needs to fry, and we need that fat flavor, because that's what fat is flavor. So, and I will, of course, like I said, drain off the excess grease. We don't want any grease floating in our pasta. So I'm just going to go ahead and put all that in there. It's thawed out, so I can just kind of chop it down. And let me use this. I know there are meat choppers, which I do not have one, but this is so thawed out, it doesn't matter. Everything I have is at room temperature, because I find when you're cooking, even baking, it's nice to have everything at room temperature. So we're just going to go ahead and let that cook down. I am not going to salt this. Reason is that tomato has a lot of salt in there. So I think that will be perfect. Again, people can always add salt, so I'm not worried about that. I'm going to go ahead and get me a lid for this, let it cook down, and then in the meantime, we're going to get our cheeses together and get ready for the assembly. Okay. Some of you may not do this. I didn't do this for a long time, but I started doing it, and I really like the flavor, and I like how the texture of it. And this is adding eggs and Parmesan cheese to your ricotta. So let me go ahead and back that tripod up again. Sorry about that. I got to get used to that. Till I find where my other one is hidden. Okay, I've got 4 eggs. I have got 32 ounces of ricotta, and I have another one of 15 ounces of ricotta. Again, this is all Walmart brand because I did a Walmart pickup. And I also have some, probably a 1/4 cup of Parmesan. And I'm going to add all that together, and I'm going to mix it up really well until it's nice and fluffy. You can do this in your mixer, which will make it real nice and creamy. This looks really good, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to do it by hand. I just love these containers because, us boomers, as my daughter would call me, that we're frugal. For the most part, we're pretty frugal, and I like to save those containers. So you never know what you've got in there. Do I have ricotta in there, or do I have beef stew? Who knows? All right, so just just going to go ahead, and this again is at room temperature, so it's really easy to manipulate, and I'll be able to mix this up really nice and creamy. Okay, so what we're going to do is add, I think I'll make a well in there. There we go. And I'm going to add all 4 eggs at once. If I was doing this in the mixer, I'd probably add each egg one at a time, but since I'm doing this by hand, I can really visually see what I'm doing. Okay, getting them all in there, incorporated in that cheese. And I'm going to go ahead and add this 1/4 cup, which is all I have left of Parm. And that's all the Parmesan I use in my lasagna, because I have mozzarella and provolone, and then of course this ricotta. So basically it's 4 cheeses. You can use whatever. I had a friend of mine that didn't like mozzarella, and she used to use cheddar cheese. And, you know, I thought that was kind of odd. But, you know what? Once I tasted it, it was delicious. So don't discount other people's opinions or ideas on cooking, because you might learn something. You might like, oh yeah, I think I like that. So, and as you can see, this is coming together. You want to make sure that your eggs are really well incorporated in there. And I've got my Pampered Chef awesome whisk. I was at Hobby Lobby, like I said yesterday. Oh my gosh. I had a doctor's appointment for my heart, and good. Everything's good. But, man, go to Hobby Lobby, at least for me, and I go in the cooking section, and it's like, hold on to your wallet, because your credit card will be smoking. All right, I think that's beautiful. All right, we've got that ready to go. Once my meat is all fried, sauteed, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to mix it in with the sauce, and that way we'll use that together as we assemble. But I wanted to tell you, I am so blessed to have a truck driver husband. I'll tell you why. He carries a lot of cheese, delivers, picks up a lot of cheese. And sometimes, you guys may not know this, sometimes I was a truck driver for a short period of time. I call it my wild heritage time in my life. Only lasted a year. We have deliveries, and they'll refuse a delivery because maybe the box is crushed, or it was an overage, and they refuse it. So many times we have gotten blessed with cheese. Mozzarella. You know how expensive this is. This was actually going to Food Lion. But anyway, we got 4 boxes. What the company will tell you, his company, his great trucking company he works for, will tell you, and all trucking companies, you have to dispose of it. For the most part, what truck drivers will do, me included when I was, you go into your, you go do your break, and you just kind of give away what you have. Cheese, candy. That was one time I had an overage of candy. Big bags, too. It was Halloween, and they refused it because one of the shrink wrap was the last pallet, which would have been the first pallet the company put in there at the very nose, was torn. They refused it because, they said it was damaged. So I gave an entire pallet, taller than me, full of candy away, and the truck stopped. And so that was like, random act of kindness. Things happen like this. You can give it away and make somebody happy. So we've got 4 boxes of mozzarella and one of something I never had before called habanero jack. I love pepper jack, but this is habanero jack, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's going to burn me up. No, it's delicious, especially on a ham sandwich. Yeah, it's good. So anyways, using my yummy, delicious mozz, because this is expensive. And I've got 2 packs of provolone sliced. Didn't get this, but this is expensive too, but again, Walmart. And the ricotta. So I'm going to go over here and check and see how we are on our, it looks like our meat is just about ready. I'm going to go ahead and drain it. You guys don't have to see that. Just drain it in a colander. Make sure you don't put it down your drain. I will go ahead and give that to my dogs later. They will love it. So I'll be right back. Okay, if you see me and I have tomato splatter on me, it's because I had to change pots to mix the hamburger and the sauce together, because neither one of those pans was big enough for this. This is at least halfway. Look at that beautiful sauce. And like I said, I drained it. Let me just show you how much grease I got. Look at all the grease I got off. So you don't want that in your dish. I mean, if you don't want to do what I do with it, you're more than welcome to dispose of it however you can dispose of grease. I feel like I am covered in tomato splatter. I didn't know any other way to do it, but it is what it is. Real kitchen, real cooking. All right, so we've got this all nice and mixed, and if there's any big chunks of hamburger, because you know how hamburger, go ahead and just kind of chop it down, because you want it to be where it's mixed real well with your sauce. You don't want big chunks of hamburger in there, because it really won't get the sauce in there and the flavor of your lasagna. Oh man, that looks so good. And I like to kind of just bring it up so I can see. I don't even like to have an inch round balls of hamburger, because I want it all to be kind of minced, I guess is the best way to put that. So just kind of, you know, mix it up so you can see where you are. Oh, the smell, the basil. Oh gosh, you can smell that, the garlic and the onion. Wow. I could just make me some noodles and wow, this is so good. I wish our tomato harvest had been a lot better than it was this year. It was okay, but it wasn't good enough for me to have crushed tomatoes. Hopefully, excuse me, next year I'll be able to have crushed tomatoes. Okay, sip of coffee. Let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to go ahead and put some of this cheese over here, and I'll just grab it as I need it. If you've never made lasagna before, all it is alternating your ingredients. Super easy. I love it. I've got my oven set on 375, and that's according to this manufacturer. Let me make sure I did do that. Actually, I had it on 350. So this, the reason I'm using 375 is because this is oven ready noodles. So what I like to do, let me get a ladle, is I like to put just a little bit of sauce in the bottom. Not a ton, it's not even a layer, but it's just kind of a base. What am I going to do with this? Okay, there we go. Just kind of a base for your noodles to sit on. Okay. So, and you know what? You remember when I said earlier, I think I might add a little bit of our tomato juice to this? I'm going to do that, so I will be right back. The reason I did, I actually had a pint that I canned. The reason is this is so thick, I want to make sure that it's going to stretch. And I'm just going to add, this is a pint. I'm just going to go ahead and add a half a pint. I think that will probably do it. And let me go ahead and mix that around. Yeah. Normally, maybe I wouldn't do that if I had cooked the noodles, but since these are ready, I think I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more because the noodles are going to go ahead and soak it up. So I'm going to add the whole pint. Okay. And it's still super thick from the Walmart crushed tomatoes. Okay, so that let me put a little bit more on the bottom here. Okay, good. All right, so let's open up one of these bad boys. My daughters use these. So, all right. It's kind of weird for me not to have them cooked. But I know when I was in cooking school those many years ago, I think it was a brand new thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and layer them in the bottom here just like I normally would. Okay. And of course there's always pieces. All right, let me go ahead and crack that one. So I want that to go across. Oh, well, that cracked really nice. Okay, so what I've got is 4 across and just that little 4 that way and 1 at the bottom. Perfect. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put some of our sauce in here. Get the tables out of the way. Generous with your sauce. Wow, it smells so good. I hope everybody likes it. This fundraiser we're having is for the Ladies Fellowship. And we had the bake sale. And now we're having this. Hopefully this will help pay for the Airbnb that we rented to go to Pigeon Forge to the Women of Joy. Okay. I guess I'm going to need hold on, let me get another spoon. Let me get a different one. All right, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and put dollops of the ricotta. Okay. Now, as this cooks, it'll spread out. So, I mean, don't worry about it not being all over the place because it will spread out and be wonderful. Especially as fluffy and with the eggs in there. Okay, now I've got provolone. Should have opened that, but okay, good. My little arthritic fingers are working today. Maybe I spoke too soon. Thank goodness for knives. All right. And I believe this will cook for about an hour. Okay. Lots of wonderful slices. Just going to go ahead and put a few slices of this in here. So I want it to at least be a 3-layer. Okay. Now, I can be very generous with the mozzarella because, like I said, I have boxes of this. And I, for one, am a mozzarella lover. I used to make it when I had goat's milk. But since my goat didn't want me to milk her this year, she was a first-time mama and she didn't want any parts of me being down there. So I let her do her thing. And she only had one, so she didn't really have a lot. Okay, back to this. I'm going to go ahead and layer again. Push it down. And as you're pushing down, you're making the cheese, spread out too. So this is great. Okay, go ahead and do another one here. Great. Okay. All right. Again, with the sauce. Let's see here. And we want to end with the sauce and mozzarella. That's how I like to do my lasagna. There we go. I mean, be generous, but not like crazy because you want to make sure it all stretches. So that covers everybody. And again, we're going to do ricotta. Okay, and I think I got plenty for the next one. All right, provolone. Doesn't this look good? Oh my goodness. How wonderful. Let's see. Yeah, I got enough. All right. There. And again, mozzarella. And my next layer will just be noodles and sauce and mozzarella. Another pack. Whenever it's and I call it a blessing. When you get something like this and you can share it, we share it with our kids and friends, things like this too. If we can't give it away at the truck stop. Okay, go ahead. There we go. All right, now we go ahead and count it as a blessing because we can bless others with it. So All right, there we go. So, one package of these oven-ready noodles will make this 3 by 9 pretty tall container of lasagna. Okay, so there's that. Put a little bit more sauce on here. Yeah, and it is up to the top, so that's what I want. All right, we're just going to go ahead and mix that around. I'm so glad I put that pint of sauce juice. Because boy, oh boy, it really made this sauce perfect. Oh, it smells so good. I know I keep saying that, but guys. Alrighty. I am not going to make you guys watch me do the other one, but it's exactly the same. And I'm going to put it in my 375 Fahrenheit degree. 375 degree Fahrenheit. I am in the States. I don't know what that is in Celsius. I know 350 is around 180 Celsius. But anyways, that is the amount of cheese I'm going to put on top. And I'm going to put that in the oven, and then I'm going to go ahead and get this other one assembled, and then we will be back 60 minutes or until it's bubbly hot. Okay, see you in a few.